Kuudra is the final boss of the Crimson Isle, and it is an interesting fight to say the least. This is going to be a guide video on how to kill the basic and hot tier Kuudra as of April 24th, 2022. If you're watching this in the future, odds are the fight has probably gotten reworked, because if I'm being completely honest, the fight's not super fun right now. But this is going to go over strategies, team compositions, armor that you kind of need, and just the whole 9 yards on how you should do Kuudra. So if this video helps you out, I'd really appreciate a like or a subscription. I'm on the grind for 60k, and it would mean the world if you subscribe to me. But let's get into my Kuudra guide. So there are a couple prerequisites that I want to go over. First off, why should you do Kuudra? I did a whole video yesterday talking about the Kuudra armor progression, but moral of the story, outside of dungeons, Kuudra is going to give the best armor in the game. And the dungeons armor is only going to be better inside of dungeons. So if you want to be dealing the most damage possible to Slayer bosses, everything on the Crimson Isle, and literally everything everywhere other than the catacombs, then Kuudra is going to be for you. There's also 2 really good ultimate enchants from it, and there is a pretty decent pet in the Kuudra pet that drops from Kuudra. So definitely, it is a fight that is worth doing. Another thing that I want to talk about is keys, because keys are very important to the Kuudra fight. To start the fight, you have to pay money to get in, and to get any rewards, you need a Kuudra key for whatever tier you're doing. Right now, there's only 2 tiers in the game, so there's the Kuudra key and the hot Kuudra key, and there are 2 ways of going about getting these. One of them is just talking to your mage emissary or barbarian emissary, and these guys are going to offer you keys for nether stars and the material that is around your area. So for barbarian, it's red sand. For mage, it is mycelium. Also, a little bit of a coin cost, but the coin cost is so cheap that it literally doesn't matter. These nether stars you get from killing vanquishers, so you can actually create a party to farm these vanquishers together, because you can just have people in different areas of the map killing mobs everywhere, and eventually someone can spawn in a vanquisher, and you can have all of your friends run over, get some loot share on it, and get a bunch of nether stars. If you spawn it in yourself, you get 3 nether stars, and then if you get loot share, the odds are you're gonna get 1 or 2. So you're able to get a bunch of keys pretty quickly if you just have these nether stars. Right now in my inventory, I have like a bajillion nether stars on me, and I also just spent like a bunch to buy 7 keys. So these aren't super hard to come across if you're just killing a bunch of enemies. The other way to get Kuudra keys is going to be from the mini bosses on the island. There's 4 of them, and the magma boss that all exist. Right now, they're actually disabled because they were lagging the entire server. But these guys have a pretty small chance of dropping a key. I believe on the alpha, an admin said that every mini boss has a 10% chance to drop one, except for the magma boss, who has like a 20%, but I don't have that screenshot, and I'm not 100% sure that that's exactly what they said. So don't take my word on it, but you can definitely get keys from these mini bosses. So I just like to cycle between Blade Soul and the Mage Outlaw and Barbarian Duke X if I can fit all 3 of those in a rotation. If I'm only doing 2, then usually Blade Soul and the Mage Outlaw are what I'm doing, because you can get back pretty much within the time that Blade Soul's going to respawn and then absolutely shred it. So you have your keys, but how do you actually start the fight? Well, you have to complete the main storyline for your faction, and that is going to be a pretty easy process. It's going to show up on the top of your screen. It's just talk to L and do everything related to that, and then pick your faction and do everything related to that. And then finally, you'll get an objective called Battle the Monster, and you'll have to come here with a party. L will be here, and you're going to start the basic tier of Kuudra. So let's just go into what is going on in the fight. So you're going to see it's not actually a super massive arena. There are a bunch of cannons around. There is a bunch of lava that you can't go down to, and then there's a little shop. And this shop is going to be very important for doing Kuudra actually efficiently, because in this shop is going to be different upgrades for the cannons, which are the only way that you can damage Kuudra. In the basic tier, you're going to see 4 tentacles spawn in, and generally your goal is to just kill the tentacles. The way that you're going to do it most efficiently is by upgrading rapid fire, multi-shot, and bonus damage. Every other upgrade is pretty good, but in the basic tier, it doesn't really matter. You're going to do this in about 2 minutes if you're playing with a good team. And you need to collect these tokens by either hitting the tentacles or by killing enemies that the tentacles throw onto the main area. The enemies are very, very packed together. There's a lot of them. So right-click Mage with Hyperion is phenomenal in there. If you don't have Hyperion, any kind of right-click Mage will do decent on basic tier. Basic tier is not that hard, but you want to upgrade rapid fire and multi-shot and bonus damage as much as possible and just kill all 4 of the tentacles with your hopefully 3 other teammates that you have. If you don't have 3 other people with you, that kind of sucks. So I'm going to throw a Kuudra looking for group into my Discord. The Discord is going to be in the description, so I can't guarantee that there's going to be people in there, but maybe, just maybe, if all of you join the Discord, then you can find some good Kuudra parties and be able to do the basic tier super easily. While you're trying to kill the tentacles, every minute and a half an event is going to happen. On the basic tier, I believe the only event that can happen is Mana Bomb, which is going to spawn 8 bombs around the corners of the map, and you just have to use mana near them and it will defuse them. Some of them spawn next to these wither skeletons that absolutely shred through you no matter what armor you're using. So definitely try and shoot those guys from a distance before you go over, because they have really low health, but a shield that takes, I believe, like 6 hits with a bow to get rid of. So don't go next to these wither skeletons unless you are absolutely about to die to Mana Bomb. But this event is going to be pretty simple. So basic tier ends right there when you kill all 4 of the tentacles, and I would recommend that you spend your key on pretty much every single run, because you already paid the money to get into the run, so it's not like you're losing a big thing there. And then you get more essence if you just salvage the piece. Obviously, you could just go for the free chest and wait until you get something that you really, really want, but I've just been spending my keys like there's no tomorrow, so that's what I would recommend you do. Now that you beat the basic tier, you're able to play the hot tier, which is going to cost 200,000 coins to start, and it is going to have an extra phase, so I want to talk about that. The beginning of the fight is exactly the same. You're going to kill the 4 tentacles by getting your rapid fire, multi-shot, and bonus damage up. This one, you're actually going to start leveling up a perk called Sweet Spot. Sweet Spot is going to give you a damage buff on every single consecutive hit that you put onto Kuudra, so it's going to be helpful, and you're going to get way more tokens on this one because of the extra phase that exists. In the hot tier, there's actually a new event called Dropship, and Dropship is going to spawn a ghast in the sky that is going to drop TNT on you if he gets all the way around the map, and then drops it in the middle. So using Terminator on this is fantastic, but if you don't have Terminator, you just got to have your whole team bowing him as well as possible. I would recommend, if you don't have Terminator or Juju shortbow, get something like an artisanal shortbow just so you can maybe have a shot at this, but it can even cut it close with a couple people using Terminator if you aren't hitting every single shot on this gas, because it has a lot of health. But just shoot it as fast as possible and take it down before it reaches the middle. So once you kill the 4 tentacles, the extra phase starts, and it's going to spawn all 4 tentacles, and Kuudra is actually going to show up out of the lava. And once again, you're killing the 4 tentacles. You should have at least rapid fire, multi-shot, and bonus damage really close to max when you're doing this main fight, so you can absolutely nuke the tentacles, and that is what I would generally recommend you do. You have to kill all 4 tentacles at the same time, and then you can start shooting Kuudra. One other thing that's going on in the fight is there's going to be these orbs flying towards Kuudra that say spawn 10 mobs, spawn 5 mobs, or the worst ones are the ones that say 200k heal or 100k heal. You need to shoot all of these orbs to prevent those actions from happening. The mob ones aren't a huge worry because you're only going to have 3 people on the cannon in the last phase here, and 1 person's just going to be defending. But definitely the heal ones are a pain if you let them hit. So those ones are orange and pink. Make sure those orbs never hit Kuudra, because otherwise you're going to be sitting in that fight for much longer than you should otherwise. While you're doing the killing of the 4 tentacles and shooting Kuudra in the face, sometimes there are specific events that will happen during the fight. For example, 2 dropships can spawn on the side, and these ones can't actually be bowed, so you have to use your cannon to kill these dropships, and it can get a tiny bit annoying that you have to put all of your time into killing them, but they go way slower than normal dropships do, and they're going to be pretty simple. You just got to make sure you divert your attention to them. There can also be a lot of blazes that spawn, and you just have to shoot them with the cannons as well. Mainly, you're having 3 people just sit on cannons and do whatever is actively required for them to do. If there's one of those events, stop it. If there are tentacles up, immediately kill them. And if there's no tentacles and no events, just shoot Kuudra in the face, and you will finish the hot tier of the fight. When it comes to team compositions, I must say, you mainly only need one person who's actually halfway decent at the game. One person can pretty much solo clear basic and hot if you have like a hype mage. So if you have one guy in your friend group who's just absolutely goated at the game, and everyone else can just get like necromancer lord armor or something that's just kind of tanky, then you can just have 3 guys who are permanent cannon nons while the other guy is just nuking every enemy that's spawning in the area. So that is a strategy you can do. I like just playing with as many mages as possible, and I don't think that more mages hurts. But if you're on a cannon and if you're really lacking damage-wise, you can just wear tank armor, and you're still going to be super helpful to the fight because the only way to damage Kuudra right now is with the cannons. So yeah, get tokens, upgrade cannons, shoot cannons. That's the whole fight. It's not a blast of a fight. It's not the most fun thing in the world, but it can make you a decent amount of money, and it's dropping the best armor in the game, at least once you craft it up to where it is the best armor in the game. Let me know if you need any other help with Kuudra in the comments below. I believe that this should be able to get you through the basic and hot tiers super easily. I'll be sure to make guides on future tiers of Kuudra because it seems like they're going to have huge changes compared to current tiers. So I will be sure to make those in the future, but hopefully this gets you through it for now. And I will talk to you guys in the next video. Peace out.